Okay, boys and girls, time for another installment of my favorite game of What's in the Case. Well, I'll give you a hint. I know what's in the case. Last week I received a letter from a gentleman that purchased this, and he said it needs some maintenance and wanted to know if I could take care of it for him. So I gave him a call back, made arrangements for him to get it in here, and it came wandering in here today. So, let's take a closer look and see what we've got. Okay, let's see what we've got. I'm afraid. Okay, meet Blue Boy. This is, yes, another one of the guitars that I built some 30 plus years ago. This one changed hands some time ago, apparently. It's the logo I was using at the time, and this one's serial number 21. Just notice how he has the strings put on. Anyway, we'll get this out of this case and see how this little guy has fared over the years. So we were trying to decide when this guitar was built. It's actually been purchased by somebody else, second owner, some time ago. It was custom built for a customer of mine who wanted, what was happening at the time was the Nashville Telly idea was coming around. So originally this guitar was built with 3 of my hand wound pickups in it, but they weren't hot enough for the guy, so he had me put Seymour Duncan humbuckers in it. We had an ebony fingerboard that he requested with low wide frets. He wasn't much of a lead player, but he wanted something that felt good chord wise. Something else, the nut width is 1 3/4 inches wide. He wanted a little bit wider neck because he had trouble with the fender necks getting chords up here if these fingers getting tangled up. There's my logo at the time. See, we're also using graphite epoxy string trees, bone nut, of course. I remember at the time he wanted the wildest looking piece of wood for the back he could get in this curly maple top. So I remember going through my lumber stash and picking out a fairly grainy piece of poplar. Yes, the body's poplar. A lot of belt buckle rash back here. But we come up with this fairly grainy piece of poplar that we use for the body. Got a nice piece of plain maple here. We made a brass plate and put on the back of the headstock to increase the sustain. Groove Tube was doing like the fat head thing at the time that he liked the idea of, but we couldn't get one to fit this, so we made our own. Sorry, Aspen, please forgive me. Anyway. Back-loaded controls. This also has one of my Strat preamps in it. The guy didn't even know what the switches did when he brought it in. So basically what this is, your typical 3-position mini toggle, off in the middle for each pickup, out of phase, in phase. Back here was a pull switch for the preamp, which he referred to as a booster. So we're going to do some maintenance on it. The neck was out of alignment here. We're going to take care of that. Actually, the neck has stayed exactly the way I had it. The relief is right, the action's the same as the way it was when I sold the first guy. So, yay. We like it when that happens. Very stable for an ebony fingerboard. I remember trying to talk this guy out of ebony at the time because in our area with the weather changes and stuff, ebony's a bit unstable here. But this one's worked out. Take a good look at that top. That's the same board that I used for a lot of the curly maple stuff that I did at the time. I had a huge board of curly maple that was like 12 inches wide, and I forget how long it was, but it was huge. And I actually air dried that lumber. I probably air dried that wood for probably 10 years or so before I even used it. So most of the curly maple guitars that you see showing up on these videos that I built used that same board. Okay, so there we go. We're going to clean Blue Boy here up and get him shaped back up and get him back into fit for service. A little worse for wear, but hey, it's been played. Can't complain about that. So, that's what they were built for. See my Fender t-shirt reflecting in it. Okay. I love irony. Anyways, here we go. So let's get this torn down and cleaned up and move on. So at this point, we've realigned the neck. I'm starting a few touch-ups up here along the side, the base side of the neck here. Had probably about 8 to 10 bangs along through here, up about here. That is probably why the neck got knocked sideways and out of alignment. We've also found a little spot down here that had been bumped and the binding is starting to come loose, so we're going to take care of that too before it gets worse. So we're moving on here to tightening up some electronics. We're going to take all the saddles off the bridge and get it cleaned up. I don't think this bridge has been cleaned underneath since the guitar was built. So we're going to get that taken care of. Then we're going to start cleaning the guitar up. Like I say, everything, I don't really have to do any setup work or anything on it. All that has stayed fine. So basically all we're doing is a little bit of maintenance here, some touch-up work, and just giving it a good going over. So I'm going to get on with it. So I thought I'd give you a quick look here inside and correct something that I said earlier. I made the comment about the 3 mini switches being off, in phase and out of phase. Actually what it is middle position's off, down single coil, up is humbucking. Okay, so hey, it's been a couple decades since I've seen this. Cut me a break. Anyway, looks like a spaghetti incident in here, but it takes a lot of wiring to that switching with those 3 humbuckers. Down here's my little preamp. It was an FET transistor preamp with a gain and tone control. Draws about 1 millicurrent on a battery. So anyway, just thought I'd show you that real quick. And you notice the cavity is shielded. And there we have it. All cleaned up. A few scratches removed. A little bit of binding re-glued. Some touch-ups on the side of the neck. After I got done, I checked out to re-familiarize myself with this guitar a little bit. The switching could have gone either way. It was very standard to do the on, out of phase, off switching at the time. That's actually your typical 3-position switch wiring like that. The preamp, apparently I had set, and I left it alone, is actually set to balance the volumes between the single coil and the humbucking mode of the pickups. That's actually one of the reasons I designed that preamp to start with, to go in strats. For a multi-instrument player, like a Strat and a Les Paul, I used to use a Stratoblaster in my Strat years ago, and I come up with this preamp as a bit of an upgrade from the Stratoblaster. And the idea was so I could match the volume of my Strat and my humbuckers, so I wouldn't have to retweak everything every time I switch guitars. So I carried that on with this, and that was actually the idea of those preamps. So anyway, so Blue Boy here is all finished up. He's ready to go back into service. It needed a really good cleaning from top to bottom, electronically and otherwise. But we're all good to go and ready to go back home. I hope the new owner, or the second owner, actually appreciates it. And we will be sending him on home. So again, just another one of those guitars from my, as I refer to as my young and dumb building days. I doubt that I was 30 at the time. And as usual, as I say with all these guitars, I'd love to douse it in lacquer thinner and burn it. But actually, you know, after playing this guitar a little while, it's not bad. It's just that bitter, sweet taste that's left in my mouth after for the years. So anyway, that's why I don't build guitars anymore. So anyway, till next time, play nice. I'll see you later.